Our next guest here on Futbol Americas is none other than Kevin Paredes. Just made the big move from DC United over to Wolfsburg of the Bundesliga. Kevin, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
So I've been following your career for a long time, which is crazy considering you're only 18 years old. I think you were 16, if that's possible, when you first made your debut at Loudoun United as part of the DC United system. Let's start, though, with where you are now. You're at Wolfsburg. What is those first couple weeks like as you start to get acclimated, not just to a new team, but I'm sure what is a whole new life for you, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is my very first time living by myself. I'm only 18, first time away from family. So it's been a good but a challenging transition. But, over here, I have really good support from, the staff that work here, the players that are on the team. The city is much different than DC, but, I have the right people around me to keep me busy and keep me, happy, I guess.
I guess when you're making this move from MLS to Europe, everybody wants to know, like, are you ready? I'm sure you're going through that process yourself as you're playing for Loudoun United and DC United and the offers start to come in. When did you first feel like you were ready?
Yeah, I would say, I throughout this process, the whole transition, I've heard that, many times from people like, oh, maybe he's not ready, this and that. But, in my mind and with everyone around me, I know that I'm 100% ready for this next step. Last year, I made a really good stride in the MLS, and I think that, this year was a great timing for me to, take that next challenge. I love the challenge. I love being like like I say like a little bit of underdog, but not so much because people don't expect it, and I just love to prove people wrong. And my time here, I'm just gonna do my very best, and hopefully change some minds.
What does that underdog streak come from? Because, from an outside perspective, like you've been a pretty highly touted prospect for a long time. We've known about Kevin Paredes. So where does that chip on your shoulder come from?
Yeah, I would say it was when it started in the academy. Sometimes I wasn't, really, the most popular name out there. I was coming off from the bench or not playing in games, third string, fourth string type winger on the team, 17th year, I would say. Um, and then especially with the national team, the youth national teams, I wasn't really the most out, the out name out there. So I like that because I love to prove people wrong. I love to surprise people. So and it's the exact same thing here. I'm gonna surprise a lot of people. I know that.
Tell me about your time with the youth national teams, because it is interesting, right? We see you make that big money move. I think a lot of people who maybe aren't from DC don't know your game. They go to your Wikipedia page and say, man, why isn't this kid called into the senior team yet? Like, why isn't he getting all these call-ups? What was your youth national team experience like?
Yeah, I really only joined it when I would say I was 16. That's when I made my first, appearance with the under 16s when we went to Czech Republic, and that was my first time meeting the guys because a lot of those guys were, there since U13s, and I want to say U16s like late or anything, but they didn't know of me. They didn't really, they didn't know who I was, which was okay. But once I, got into the camp and once I got into those games, people started like the players and the people around and the staff and US, they started taking a notice and account of my game, and which I loved because, I always thought I was ready at the U13 level, but, it wasn't right timing. But, I got the right timing during the U16s, and ever since then, it's been uphill, I think.
When you left the team, I'm sure you saw this. They posted the video of your goodbye to the crew. Man, as a kid who grew up myself, like at RFK, when I saw you saying goodbye to the team, I don't know what room I was in, but it got like very dusty very quickly, if you feel me. Just like, what was that like, man? How hard was it for you to say goodbye?
It was probably the hardest thing I actually have ever done because, me, I wouldn't say I'm a really emotional guy, but like, when it's family, it's something, way different. And when I was leaving them, seeing all like the people that, I grew up watching playing, all my friends. So it was very tough. And I didn't expect to cry or anything, but it just came out. And that I think that really showed how much I love I have for DC.
Let's get back to the decision because Wolfsburg landed you, but I'm sure they weren't like the only club that showed interest. At some point, I remember like City Football Group was reported to have an eye on you. Not, you don't have to tell me like necessarily what other clubs were the options, but were there other footballs that you were considering besides the Bundesliga? Because it is a big choice to make, and I'm sure you're factoring things in, like where would I best fit?
Yeah, there's like you said, there was many interests from many clubs, but when my agent told me about Wolfsburg and how much they wanted me, how much they've been watching my progress, it was pretty much a no-brainer. I had to choose Wolfsburg. They showed so much love, so much support since the first time I spoken to them, and they told me that my pathway can go really really far with them. So, it was pretty much a no-brainer to choose this club.
So what are the goals then? What are the ambitions? You kind of come in at an awkward time, right? You're in the middle of the season when you join the team. That's not ideal, I think, for anybody. So have you set some goals for yourself in terms of debuts or minutes that you'd like to play before this season ends?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to make my debut. I definitely want to get, a goal or two by this end of the season. Um, some point become a consistent starter, I would say, and just show everyone that, even though I'm 18, I'm here. Age doesn't matter. I'm here for a reason, and I'm gonna, work my hardest for the team, for the fans, and for everyone that's, supporting.
What is the difference between Bundesliga and MLS? I mean, you haven't played a game yet, but you're in training sessions, so I'm sure you're seeing some difference.
Yeah, actually, a lot. The I would say the intensity, the focus on the first touch, focus on everything. It doesn't even matter like if it's during training, it's like even before training, the night before, how you're preparing your body, your mind, and all that. These guys, you know, before training and all that, they're all joking around, have a good time. But like the minute the work starts, everyone's into this like kill mode, I would say, and they're just dogs. I would say they work hard. They all have a goal of being the best in the league, and I just love to be around this atmosphere because I think my mentality is the exact same. So uh, just a lot of differences, but I would say I'm confident. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be myself. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to making more of those moves to show everyone I can still do it in the Bundesliga.
Just don't do it to your potential national team teammate John Brooks there in practice. How nice is it to have somebody else, from the American pool there that can kind of guide you along?
It's been great, having someone that can speak English with me, knows, all the US slang, I would say. This guy is just, unbelievable person. Like, as much of a great player he is, he's a really great person as well. I remember the very first day I got here. I was doing all the pictures and stuff. The team was out to go training, and Jay, he actually came to where I was for the signing day and actually like introduce himself and say if anything I need, always ask him. The day after was the day off for the team, and I want to do a little training session by myself with one of the coaches, and he actually came in from his day off and trained with me. So this guy is just an unbelievable person. He's been such a great help since I've been here.
So he's in the national team. I'm sure you're thinking that's maybe your next step. How close do you feel like you are to maybe breaking through with the senior team?
I I feel like I'm getting closer and closer every single time I step on the field. Greg and the coaching staff have been, such a great help. They've been, monitoring my progress ever since I signed. So, I keep in close contact with Greg as well because since I've been at Cam, he told me anything I need, just any advice. It doesn't have to be, soccer related. It can be, anything. I just ask him. So these guys are just great people. They really want me in the squad. It's all about patience at the moment, and I'm just gonna work my way up so I can, someday, hopefully soon, to get that roster spot.
People will look at your age and they'll think, okay, he's for the 2026 World Cup, but we do have a World Cup coming up in 10 months. Do you ever think of Qatar?
Oh, 100% almost every day. That's playing a World Cup has always been my dream, and especially now since I made this jump and I've been doing really well. Um, that's been on my mind. I just need to continue to work hard, continue to keep my focus, stay humble, keep my head down and, continue working because, that's not, I don't think that's a far reach for me. It's just all about the patience and the right timing. and I think I can do it.
All right, there he is, Kevin Paredes of Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Ex of DC United, just made the big move, and plenty more big moves to come from him. Kevin, thanks for joining us here on the show. Really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.